I am a reader. I love reading books, and my goal today is to help you read maybe a little bit better, to be able to engage with authors and books, and so that your reading is hopefully more fun and also more effective. And so the notes I'm going from today are drawn from an ebook called Read More Books Now by a guy named Brandon Vogt. His approach to engaging authors is not exactly the same as mine, but he went through the whole thought process of writing an ebook about how to read more books, and I haven't done that. So I'm going to go from his points primarily and present his perspective on how to read more books now, and I think it'll be very, very helpful. The first thing is, if you want to engage with authors, what he recommends, and I highly recommend this as well, is to mark up your books. Now, this is hard if you have a library book, if you're borrowing somebody else's book, unless they give you permission, or if you're using an ebook, though, some ebook readers allow you to do some pretty good marking up. My old-fashioned Kindle is a bit of a pain for this, but I can at least highlight. So at that point, it might even be good to just have like a little notebook nearby. This is The Nature and Character of God by Winky Pratney. Just some examples of what my books look like sometimes. You can see some scribbles in the sides and different like little loopy-doops and underlining and so forth. And then to me, that all means different types of things. So I'm not going to tell you about my little vague non-system system, but one important thing that Brandon Vogt agrees with me on is use a pencil. Pencils are neater, they're easier to get rid of if you need to for some reason in a book. It also, if you decide, you know what, I didn't actually like that book that much and I want to resell it, pencil underlining doesn't bother the resale value as much either. It's just easier than the ink that might bleed through and so forth and so on. However, so what does marking up a book do for you, the reader? Well, it helps keep you attentive. One thing Brandon Vogt brings up is that it can help you create a legacy. Someday my boys will pick up this book and they'll read, oh, what did Dad think about Winky Pratney's book? And sometimes I have some arguing about this. Now, I think, right here, page 185, some doodly-doodly-doo, and I'm like, is this really how it works? I'm not quite sure. Anyways, so you could create a legacy if you become like a well-known theologian or a pastor or missionary. Someone wants to know, what did so-and-so think about the books that they read? Well, they can look on your shelf and then they can start digging through and see all of your marginalia and write a fantastic biography about your intellectual life, right? Anyway, more likely it's going to be for your own reference. The best books you're going to go back to in the future, and so you want to go through and be able to find important things in that book, or even what were you thinking at that time. Now, if you're a prolific journaler, that might all make it into your journals, but sometimes it's just simpler to scratch a little note into your book. So some things that Brandon Vogt recommends as you're going through. He says to box key terms. Like, okay, this term is important, so you box it in. If you're a highlighter, you could just highlight that word. Underline powerful sentences. Sometimes this is a beautiful sentence. It says it so well. I want to be able to maybe memorize that or show that to somebody else in the future. It's just important. Or it's just this particular sentence really summarizes the main point here super well. Mark key paragraphs, maybe with a dot or a star. I have a little system of different shapes that indicate how important I think the particular paragraph is. You can trace an argument, maybe write 1, 2, 3 in the margins, or even like in the margin scratch, okay, he said that, or she said this, and that summarizes down to that. Write in your questions or your objections to what is being said there, and that'll actually just help keep your mind engaged in what it is that you're reading. And more on that. And just the last thing, when you are marking up your books, is at the end of a particular passage or even at the end of a chapter, you can just jot down some summary notes. What were the main questions, the main takeaways, the main points in what you have just read? This is exceptionally helpful for retaining and processing what it is that you read. And I'm actually not very good at this because I like to read too fast sometimes. I like to just get the book done, which is not actually effective in what you want to do with a book. So from there, let's talk about engaging with authors better. Sometimes when you read a book, you might feel like, oh my goodness, this person knows everything there is to know about this topic, and so I just need to receive what they have to say, which is not a good way to read a book, because the author of that book is fallible just like you are. They have biases, they have prejudices, they have misinformation, they don't understand everything. They may even be purposefully misleading you, which hopefully you're not reading books by people who are purposely misleading you, but it's possible. And so when you read a book, do not be afraid of the author. Do not be afraid of disagreeing with the author. But use it as an opportunity to really develop your own thinking. What do you already know to be the truth? What are your current convictions? What are your current questions? Bring these to bear on the book that you're reading. And so, though, before you begin, maybe fighting with a particular author and what they're saying, having a conversation, whether it be civil or a little angry, you can get mad at them because they're not going to read your marginalia. Understand what it is that they're saying. If you don't even really understand their argument, it's kind of silly to try to start going back and forth in your own head about how they might respond to your different questions. So try to understand what it is they're saying, and then begin asking questions. Asking questions for information. What are they really saying here? I'm not quite sure. You might need to go kind of dig back through. What do they mean by these terms? Maybe talk to other people who've read the book. You're getting pretty intensive now. But at this point, you just at least want to have, what are my questions? And then maybe these are questions that seem to be unanswered by the author. And as you're asking your questions, you're beginning to choose your position. Do you agree with the author's position? Do you disagree with the author's position? Do you partially agree? And then from there, why might the author be wrong? There are many different reasons the author could be wrong, but the author could be misinformed. Data may have changed. They might be uninformed. They actually didn't even know what they were saying in the first place. Their inferences or deductions may be illogical. Like, wait, that doesn't follow from that. Why are they saying A plus B equals 26? I don't understand. I guess there are 26 letters in the alphabet, but now we're getting mystical. What is it that they're saying, and does it make sense? Or is their argument incomplete? There are many different reasons why someone might be worth disagreeing with. And so you want to be able to engage your own mind in what you're reading. And so the point is not to imbibe what this person said. Now, if you're reading the Bible, that's a really good thing to do, but you still want to engage your brain. What is really being said here? What should I be taking away from this? Not just, I heard the words, right? You want them to actually have some kind of effect. And so when you're reading a book, the point is to hopefully be smarter, right? Have a better approach to life in the future, a better approach to whatever it is that you're doing, a better understanding of this particular topic. And that means not just reading some words, but really thinking through what's being said and why. And from there, you have engaged the author, and you've made your books full of pencil markings, and hopefully now you're a better reader and more informed for it. Read more, read well, and have a great day.